When I tell people that we've been to Japan and that we're going again, a lot of people think you're going back for the culture, the food, the entertainment, everything that modern Japan represents. And that's true. But this year, when we went to Japan in February and March, I was also really interested in seeing some more of my side of things. Hello, my name's Charlotte. I'm an artist local to Wiltshire in the UK, and welcome to my studio. So my husband and I went to Japan for the second time this year, and we had the most incredible experience. We thought that visiting the same country twice in 2 years could put us off a little bit. But what it actually did is it made us want to be there even more. This year in Japan, we started our journey in Tokyo and then we went up to Sapporo, where it was still snowing in late February. In Sapporo, there are a couple of major art parks that see visitors from around the world. The first of which is Sapporo Sculpture Park, and the second is Hill of the Buddha. What my husband thought that we were going to, I thought we were going to, and what I thought we were going to, we thought of completely different places, but it so happened to be on the same bus journey, so we crammed it all in one day. And it was the most incredible day of seeing everything that Sapporo had to offer in the middle of winter, surrounded by art. But I'm not going to speak about either of those two today. I'm actually going to talk about Sapporo Sculpture Park's art gallery. And this was a little surprise gem that I fluttered my eyelids to my husband to go and visit. And I am so glad that we did. The Sapporo Sculpture Park art gallery, bit of a mouthful, was doing an exhibition all about childhood and play. And it was really lovely to go in and just have that moment with sculptures. As I talk through this, I'll slip in some videos and some of photos of the artworks that we saw. So walking in, you had this hallway area that started to have dots on, and a little bit confused. It's like, okay, what's going on here? And they changed colours from blue and green to yellow and orange before we hit the start of the exhibition, which is where the first interactive element was. And of course, being an exhibition about play and childhood, it was not necessarily expected to have this interactive element, but I think it really made it an exhibition to be proud of, instead of just having artwork hanging on the walls. And this interactive element, it was, you pick a dot and you add it to the trail that started in this hallway and ended in a small area before the exhibition. Wandering through, there was several rooms in which this exhibition was held, and the gallery was a lot larger than I thought it would be. I thought this was a very small gallery. It had several workshop areas and sort of live artist studios. No one was in there currently. I'm not sure whether it was the weather, considering it was several feet of snow. However, it was really lovely to see live artist studios before then appearing upon the gallery. And some of these pieces were huge. We are talking taller than both me and my husband combined, and some of them made me think of real childhood memories or memories some children may have, including I've forgotten the name. Tree houses. Let's switch our brains back on. including tree houses, when you get your first art set and you want to try every single material, drawing the family in front of the house. And then I wandered through the main room, or circled around the main room, before settling down and just peering up into another interactive piece. Now, in Japan, they are very, very lovely people, and there are certain signs that tell you when to take your shoes off. So in most places you don't have to, but if you're entering someone's home or a private area, then they do expect this. So in this exhibition, I was asked to take my shoes off before laying down on the fake grass to peer up at this sculpture. And there was lots of different shapes and colours happening. Among clouds, you had birds, shapes of houses, and all kinds of things. And it was really easy to lose myself in it. Really easy. It was quite sweet because a couple came along and their child just wanted to play with the fake grass rather than look up merely inches above them to see what was there, which was quite funny. I did have a little giggle at that, as did they. But it was one of those times where the sculpture, or the installation, I should call it, was moving, and it was moving ever so softly, so that it was caught in a breeze that you could get entrapped in. I truly, truly could have watched it all day. But alas, I had to move on. My husband had disappeared at this point. He had left me to it to explore this exhibition. And I wandered through, and it continued through childhood memories of, like, you know, when you think of your old teddy bear and you think of it more in a sculptural way than a teddy way, it was almost as though that was brought to life. So some sculptures showcasing a lineup of teddies, or larger sculptures showcasing the playfulness of a child. And it was really well done in the fact that as an adult I can still connect to this, whereas it wasn't in a derogative, well, you're an adult now, you can't play kind of way. I felt as though I could have a little fun out of it as well. Then wandering through into a quite large room, there was a huge sculpture and installation, wall and floor, that brought you back into nature. So these sculptures were of birds. They looked a little bit prehistoric, almost dinosaur-like. I'm not sure whether that was on purpose, but going through flight, having a dance and play with each other. And I think that's where that kind of play element got drawn back in to, I want to say, current times. These were metal sculptures. I think there was some bronze used in there as well. And it was huge. Absolutely huge. It took you a fair minute to walk down the wall in which the sculpture was displayed upon, and then circling around the installation to allow you to stand back and view the whole piece, or both pieces, as one. Really gave you a moment to stop and think, to pause, relax, and reset. Within this room, I think it was more of an entertainment factor. There were a couple of large balls, a large blow-up dice that were bigger than some of the kids that were wandering around. There was a game, I believe, but it was described in Japanese, so I can't actually tell you what that was about. Last but not least, there was a room at the end presented by the sponsors of the exhibition, which allowed space for real-time play that you could actually get involved in. So no sculptures or artists or artworks were harmed in the joyous playtime that the kids that we saw were having. It was very much a Gruffalo scene, which definitely brought my husband and I back memories from our childhood and growing up and seeing the Gruffalo come to life over these years. The gallery itself, it was a beautiful space. There wasn't too much natural light for a gallery, however their lighting was placed really well to showcase the space and the artworks within it. I always appreciate when a gallery does this, because I sometimes find that if the lighting isn't right for the space or the artworks, it can really put that into a different perspective. It can really put it quite literally into a different light. No pun intended, but pun intended. I'll let you take your pick. The collection of artworks that they brought together for this exhibition was stunning. As I said towards the beginning, from the artworks that made you think of play, that were playful in themselves or that were created playfully, there was a range of paintings, sculptures, installations, ceramics. You kind of had a little bit of everything without being overwhelmed. The curation of the pieces in the exhibition really allowed it to flow, and as an artist who also likes to curate exhibitions, especially small ones with local artists and my own works, it really makes me think of these journeys that someone takes through these spaces and how you allow someone to interact with your work. I enjoyed this exhibition so much that I just wanted to go back in, and I really wanted to just sit underneath those clouds. I could take my shoes off. I was lying on the floor. The invigilator there had a little smile at me because I must have been one of few people that had done that. And I don't know whether that's an artist thing, a curiosity thing, but it just came naturally to me, and I stood there and I was like, no, I've got to get underneath this. It was a pleasure to stumble across this art gallery and across this exhibition. It wasn't something that I expected to be able to visit that day, because my goal was the sculpture park, and that was where I was leading to. So to be able to see artwork in Sapporo in the middle of kind of nowhere was truly stunning. It also meant that we could get out the snow for a bit, because if you wait for next week, you will see how bad the snow really was. Snowshoes were involved. So I thank you for listening to my ramblings about the Sapporo Sculpture Park Art Gallery. Still a mouthful. And I hope that you enjoy seeing the rest of my series on the art galleries and things that we got up to in Japan, in my Little Japan series. And if you want to see more of my artwork, because there's stuff coming up, then please like, subscribe, comment, do all those things that YouTube likes. And I will see you soon.